Oh, starting. Okay, we're live, so go ahead. You gotta talk loud so we can all hear you. Or into your microphone.
Good.
Yep, go.
Okay, cool. So this is the first 3 questions that relates to the evaluating research article. I think it means that all people are entitled to their own opinions, but not to their own facts.
Well, we all have an opinion about something, but whether we can back it up with fact is a different thing. Like I was talking earlier about trying to find evidence and research that backs up my position is not as easy as I thought it would be.
Right. Something we talked about in a research class last semester was how often, even though it's unethical, researchers stretch the truth to fit what they're trying to prove, which I thought was bizarre because I thought, I don't know, scientists or researchers were more like stick to the truth or the fact of it. So really finding good peer reviewed articles is important, that they're double checked with their work.
Well, I find myself looking through that research, trying to pick out what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of discounting or not focusing on maybe something that's contradictory to what I'm trying to say.
Right.
There's
Easy twist it a little bit.
Well,
I have a question about that, Michelle.
okay.
So I'm in the same dilemma. So I go through and I've been reading some of my literature and I'm just like picking bits and pieces of what I want for my practicum in another class. Is that why we should use peer-reviewed journals? Because we know that, like, when it's in the journal of something, it's published by the peer? Is that? I was trying to figure out what that connection is with the peer journal.
The peer journal that means it's been reviewed by other members of that group.
Okay.
So it's not just my opinion or my research. It has been
Valid.
the study
Okay.
looked at
Yeah.
and gone over by other peers in that profession.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
One thing I appreciated, I think it was in this reading about the peer review I had never thought of or known before, was that usually it's a blind, like when the peers or other professionals are reading the study or the research, it's like they can't see the.
Oh, you froze.
That's from, I don't know, grad school. That kind of prevents, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I just had never really known that that was a thing before now. So.
Oh, you froze right when you were saying something. Missed it.
Do you guys hear me?
We can, but you froze. Right when you were saying, right, so say that again.
Okay. Well, I thought in the article, I think it said it, was just how peer reviewed is usually a blind thing. So they won't see the names of the authors. They won't even know who did the study or research. And I had never known that before. So that actually kind of helped just to see that helps with opinions, but just being able to keep the facts really sound.
Right, and the credibility there.
Yeah. I had never known that, so I thought that was cool.
Okay, any other comments on that?
I think that's good.
That's good.
Next question.
Okay. So the next one says, why can statements that begin with I've heard or you know they say be so dangerous when articulating your.
I think it just really discredits the validity of your point. Like you sound like you don't really know what you're talking about. You have nothing to back it up.
Right. You could easily have made it up.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have heard it from your 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just was looking at a study on teen pregnancy and like why it's declined all of a sudden, like just in the last 10, 15 years. It was like a giant social dilemma, and it went down from 67% to 9%. And so that's like a huge drop. And the first article I could find was posted by CNN in June 2017. They interviewed a doctor, but in the article, she's got all these stats of stuff. And then the doctor says, she's quoted, "But I did not do the study, and I didn't, this is just kind of what I think." And I'm like, what? Why would CNN say,
Right.
like, do this? And so then I got all interested in it. And so then I looked up. So this doctor, she was not a pediatrician, but a doctor for adolescents, so teenage kids, and prescribing birth control and all the different types of birth control. Well, there was a real study that was done on it. Her thing was based on her experience, so it was empirical, but not really, because there was no data to support hers. She
Right.
was kind of on the right track because the study kind of connected with what she said, but she said it went down because of condoms in the withdrawal method. And the study said it was because there was a development in long-acting birth control, like the implants, the new IUDs and the Norplants. So that was a bad article, bad info,
Bad
everything. Bad research.
But that was
Yeah.
CNN trying to push their opinion.
Right.
And
Yeah.
doctor who's credible. So
Yeah.
their agenda.
Right.
So
Super easy to find invalid
Right.
research or opinions.
that's a good point. Okay, next question.
Okay. So far, we have learned the important. Ugh. I'm tired, you guys. We have learned the importance of having the doctrine in our hearts. Why do you think it's also important to have good science in our minds and mouths? Well, not everybody wants to hear doctrine and will have the, I don't know, low tolerance for doctrine and religion. So,
Right.
in order to be effective,
hmm Something that I've found interesting as I've studied more about like social aspects of marriage and family is how much the standards the church has set and the doctrine of the family is proved valid through research. And I think backing that up, that it's like God knows, and obviously that will come out in valid research. So using those correct things, I helps prove the doctrine right more. It's kind of like a math proof. So
And I also think most people don't have doctrine in their life and they don't
Mhm.
believe it. And if you go there doubting doctrine, it's gonna get taken as religious, fanatical,
right,
whatever. And
right,
they can't. Facts are facts. The studies have been done, and those are harder to dispute.
right. Any other thoughts on that one?
okay. So the next four are relating to the videos. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. I keep freezing, so I'm worried. So the first one says, if you were able. Who would you pick and why?
So you gotta start over again. If you were able to what?
Able to pick a side on a Common Core debate.
Debate. Was she freezing in?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which side?
Which would you pick and why?
You're just waiting to say something, Andrina.
Oh yeah, it's killing me. The Common Core. This is so. I was so heated over it. I live in an area that's exactly what the last 5 minutes. The guy that says, we've got students that live in the heart of a city. We've got kids that are farmers. we've got kids that are all these different things, and we're trying to make them take this test. And I live in a place where 96%, this is a real fact, I looked at because I did not want my daughter to go to this school, but 96% of the children from this school she goes to do not go to college, and 41% of them graduate from high school.
Wow.
And I'm just like, and they're doing Common Core. They did it last year and the year before, and it's just so bad. They spend the whole last month, the entire month, just teaching to that core, and these poor kids are not learning anything. And it's exactly how he said, they can't look at you in the eye. I mean, they don't have job skills. Like, they're gonna need a job, but they sure could take a test.
Right.
Right.
And I'm blown away. My daughter, she's a great kid, but I mean, she has a really hard time articulating herself when she speaks. But if she could write it or text it to you, it's perfect. It's poetry. But ask her to speak, you're like, get the marbles out of your mouth, girlfriend. So it's just interesting that. And then, like, all the stuff that was behind it, there was no support, there's no data, there's no proof that this works, that they are going to be college ready.
Right.
I had 5 pages of notes by the time, and I'm like, did I catch it? Because stewing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Are you gonna say something? I'll say something.
Someone was going to say something.
I'll say it. I liked what you said, that your daughter could write it or text it, but she struggled speaking it, because that was something he brought up, that everyone had strong talents in different things, and trying to force everyone to be talented in one thing is not going to help society. I feel really strongly about that people have different talents for a reason.
All right. We're sticking that square peg in the round hole.
Right.
And that of the 30 people that signed off on it, that only 2 of them were arts and English. What?
Who were these people? Yeah.
And then my son actually goes to a STEM school. So he's like, I'm graduating, I'm going to college. My daughter's like, I'm going to college, I'm graduating too. But he wanted to go engineering, that whole thing. So he goes to a special school, is what I call it. And it's just really intense. And the difference there, like, my son is in 9th grade. He's doing exponentials. He has like 2 different calculators that he uses. Like, he's all smartsy. And then my daughter, who is in 10th grade, they haven't even covered what he's doing in math. And so I'm like, whoa, this is Common Core. Like, this is, I'm right here. No. And I haven't heard of it. Well, I heard of it because my kids are taking it, but I didn't realize this was something that came down from that high of a level, and all the hula hooping that went around to get it through. Oh, and Bill Gates' involvement.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty entrenched here, and the teachers are pretty strong believers. But I have a better school demographic, so that works. Hello.
It works, huh? So in some areas, it probably works. Probably great in some areas.
Right. But I still don't like. I mean, even though it's kind of working here, I don't like my child spending a whole month trying to learn how to take a test or stressing about these tests, and that's all they focus on. They focus on teaching so the kids can take the test.
I'm still a little confused. What is the test meant to accomplish? It's just to prove that they're college ready?
That they've learned what they're supposed to learn in Common Core. Like,
didn't they have like state standardized tests?
They did.
I remember taking those.
Now they take the state out and they put the federal government in.
This has replaced it. Okay. That's weird.
And the other thing so when we take the federal government perspective, because I started thinking about that, like, they all started offering all these incentives. And I thought that was interesting because if you're in a small town like this, you're going to have a harder time recruiting the higher talented teachers that have the masters from Baylor and whatnot. You're going to get the lower. So they started talking about the different curriculums and different types of colleges you could go to. So our teachers here have degrees, but they're from a college you've never heard of.
Right.
And where if you live in a big city, you're getting someone who went to, you know, BYU or U of U or something, you know, Oregon State. They went somewhere to write home about, you know.
Right.
They didn't go to a school you.
And our teachers, I would say every single one of our elementary school teachers have a master's degree.
That is crazy. See, we're all bachelors
Wow.
over here.
Yeah, and
That's different. Yeah.
we're a college town that has a really good education program here, and so the job market's super competitive because everybody wants to live here. And so you almost, if you get a job and you have your bachelor's, you are back in school to get your master's to keep the job.
Wow.
So
Wow. Yeah, so I'm more for the state testing. I mean, because then those teachers know what their kids, and they also know what teachers are there, you know, I mean, you can't expect these kids to compete with teachers who went to Harvard. Well, my son has at his school, all the teachers are PhD. Every single one of his teachers have a PhD. Well, those kids are learning at a different level than the kids at this, but he goes to a school that's on a university campus. It's a learning academy. So those kids are already being exposed to the whole thing, even the teachers. So it's totally different. But yeah, I don't agree.
creativity, I think. There's the kids who don't learn creative thinking, and the pigeonhole. So. Okay, are we ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah, sorry.
I just gotta leave here in a few minutes, so don't mean to rush.
No, you're good. Let me know if you can't hear me. Sorry about my little boy. He's kind of
It's
loud.
awful to have your child.
Do you think that much of the Common Core curriculum ignores empirically based, developmentally appropriate practices, as a kind of a mouthful, for children? Why or why not? So, does Common Core ignore appropriate practices for children? I guess. So
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't look up at the research, but each kid is so different. How can you say that this 5-year-old here needs to learn the same exact way and things as that 5-year-old over there?
Right.
I mean, it's different in each classroom, not let alone in the whole country.
Right.
That's true.
Standard, but there's got to be some give and take in that as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
I work in the school district where I live with elementary age kids and an after school program. And it's very much hands-on learning instead of like worksheets. And I don't know, I think especially with elementary age kids, there's got to be a different way to teach than the way they're doing it, because I don't feel like they're learning the things they need to when they're meant to sit at a desk and fill out the paper and take the test. You know, I think they've got to have more real life ways of learning.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think there was I don't remember where I saw it, but in one of the readings, we're humans, not machines, and like there are different ways everyone learns, and I don't know. I mean, like there has to be a certain standard, of course, like you want the kids to learn certain things, but we shouldn't be so focused on training them to take a test
Do it this
and get the
way.
right score. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I think, but
Yeah, I agree.
Next question.
what have you learned from cultural imperialism about the persuasive function of research and science in creating cultural change? So I think this is talking about that first video where I was talking about HIV and AIDS.
Right. I thought that was awful.
Me too.
I thought it was really awful and really kind of arrogant for them to be like pushing that on other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Their agenda. I know.
Yeah.
It's really funny because I had a friend send me a paragraph he had to write about sexually transmitted diseases. and wanted me to help him correct it. And I, some of the stuff he said in there, I didn't quite agree with. So I sent him that link and I said, you should watch this and see if you can add to it. Because just passing out condoms isn't the answer.
Right. Right. I thought it was very backwards. I liked what the one girl said about being manipulative, that they're manipulating them to push their progressive agenda.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When really
Yeah.
that's not going to solve their problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I disagreed with it very much.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions?
There's one more. Last one. What lessons have you learned to make you more skillful in combating your chosen topic or threat? So what have we learned to make us more skilled?
I guess looking for, like today I was working on that and looking for, to make sure method they used. What
Yeah.
was their what were the participants doing, and actually, was it a real study? I mean, that was the first thing I scanned for. It wasn't just I wasn't just looking for an article. I was looking for a study. So I had to scan down to make sure all of those study parameters were met.
Yeah, that had method. Yeah, had method, and it had an introduction, the abstract. Same thing. I was looking for. That's the thing I go for, is the method, and I want to see discussion too, to see if there's like a
Right.
if they have any opinions on it.
It's my
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
so,
That's
Hey, good luck, everybody.
good luck, everybody. Yeah.
Horribly long.
Cool.
I'm gonna stop the broadcast.